Ethan Cole stepped off the transport shuttle onto the dusty surface of Zifferon 9. The air was thin, filled with a metallic scent from the distant mining operations. He adjusted his backpack and took a careful look around. Unlike Earth, this colony was a mix of jagged rocks and sleek alien architecture. Towering towers with shimmering glass and glowing panels seemed almost alive as they pulsed with energy. Humans were rare here, and Ethan knew he would stand out. But that was part of the plan. He had come to Zifferon 9 for work, and more importantly, for research. His colleagues back on Earth would never believe the things he was about to discover. Still, his first step was simple: find his new apartment. The building was small but oddly charming, rising 3 stories with walls that shimmered faintly in the low sun. At the entrance, a pair of antenna-like structures twitched in greeting. Ethan pressed the door panel and a voice with a musical tone spoke. "Welcome, visitor." "You are expected," Ethan smiled. "Yes, Ethan Cole, I'm here to rent the unit." The door slid open smoothly, revealing a tall figure with violet-hued skin and large, expressive eyes. Her name tag read Zyra, Landlady Extraordinaire. Ethan immediately felt a strange mix of caution and curiosity. "Ah," Zyra said, her voice flowing like soft music. "Human, how exciting." "You will find Zifferon 9 unique." She gestured for him to enter. Ethan stepped inside, taking in the apartment. It was small but efficient, with walls that changed color to suit mood, a bed that floated a few inches above the floor, and a storage locker that hummed quietly. As Ethan unpacked, Zyra floated around the room, her long fingers lightly brushing the surfaces. She asked him questions about his work, his travel, and even what he thought of alien life. Ethan answered politely, careful not to reveal too much about his research. Zyra noticed small details: the way Ethan inspected every panel, how he adjusted the energy flows of lights before sitting down, and how he handled the storage locker with unusual care. She had seen many aliens and even a few humans before, but something about him was different. Later that evening, Zyra offered to show Ethan the apartment's features. "Most visitors do not notice these things," she said, with a hint of pride. She opened a small floor panel to reveal hidden wiring and energy conduits. Ethan nodded politely but did not pry. Zyra's curiosity grew. Humans usually touched everything, but he was careful, precise, almost secretive. As she closed the panel, a sudden energy pulse from the locker made a small light flicker. Zyra froze. It was a tiny thing, almost nothing, but her eyes widened. She floated closer and glanced at the locker. Something inside, she couldn't be sure what, was unusual. Alien technology rarely behaved like this. Zyra tried to shake off her curiosity. After all, Ethan was her tenant. Privacy was important. Still, her mind could not let go. She had a reputation for being extremely observant. Something about Ethan's behavior and the strange energy fluctuations nagged at her mind. The next morning, Zyra brought breakfast, a strange mix of Zifferonian fruits and protein gels. Ethan ate politely while Zyra chatted about the colony, the miners, and the alien wildlife beyond the walls. Her attention drifted occasionally toward the locker, where Ethan kept his private belongings. Curiosity became almost unbearable. Zyra wondered what a human could hide in a small, compact locker. Most aliens would store tools, gadgets, or harmless energy devices, but humans were unpredictable. She had heard rumors. Humans had a certain ingenuity that no alien could match, a way of thinking outside rules and limits. By mid-afternoon, Zyra could not resist. She floated over while Ethan was examining the apartment controls. A small cleaning routine triggered a sensor under the floor, one she had not planned to use. A faint shimmer revealed a glimpse of something unusual beneath a panel in the locker's corner. Her violet eyes widened as she caught sight of it. A metallic object, compact and oddly shaped, humming softly. It was not a weapon like an alien would expect. It was something different. Elegant, precise, and full of potential. For a moment, Zyra's mind raced. She had seen a lot of technology, but this was human ingenuity at its finest. She couldn't unsee it, and though she tried to tell herself it was none of her business, she felt a strange respect mixed with awe. Ethan turned at that moment, catching her slightly off guard. Zyra quickly floated back to her normal position, masking her astonishment with a smile. "Is everything all right?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly, though her mind was racing. "Everything is fascinating." Ethan nodded, unaware that his hidden weapon had left a lasting impression on the alien landlady. Zyra had glimpsed it, and now she could not unsee the brilliance of human invention. As night fell, the colony's lights glowed like stars below, and Zyra floated by the window, thinking about the human in her apartment. He seemed ordinary, yet she knew there was something extraordinary hidden in plain sight. And, for the first time, Zyra wondered what humans were truly capable of. The morning sun of Zifferin 9 spilled through the apartment's shimmering windows, painting the walls in soft gold. Ethan Cole moved quietly around his apartment, adjusting small instruments and checking the energy flows in his devices. To anyone else, it might look like ordinary maintenance. To Zyra, it was fascinating. She floated silently near the kitchen, pretending to prepare breakfast, but her eyes never left him. Humans were odd, unpredictable, and yet something about Ethan's careful movements intrigued her. He was meticulous, almost obsessive in the way he handled his belongings. It made her wonder, what could he possibly be hiding? Over the next few days, Zyra observed Ethan with growing curiosity. She noticed that he often disappeared into his storage locker for long periods, leaving the lights dimmed and the apartment unusually quiet. Sometimes faint pulses of energy shimmered from beneath the panels, small but precise. What is he doing in there? She asked herself. Zyra had lived among countless species, but humans were different. They did not rely on brute strength or predictable logic. They were clever, creative, and always seemed to find solutions that no one else could imagine. Unable to resist her curiosity any longer, Zyra decided to test the waters. One afternoon, while delivering a small package to his apartment, she let her eyes wander. She noticed a tiny gap in the storage locker's floor panel. It was subtle, almost invisible, but to her trained senses it was a window. Her heart quickened as she floated closer. Carefully, almost reverently, she peeked under the panel. There it was. The hidden weapon was unlike anything Zyra had ever seen. It was compact, sleek, and hummed softly with contained energy. Unlike her species' devices, it was elegant in its design. No bulky panels, no exposed wires, just pure functionality. She gasped softly, though no sound escaped her lips. Humans, she realized, could take simple materials and turn them into extraordinary machines. This device could manipulate gravitational fields, something Zyra had only read about in theoretical studies. The potential was staggering. Zyra pulled back immediately, careful not to be seen. Her violet eyes sparkled with a mix of awe and concern. How did a human make something like this? She whispered to herself. Alien technology was advanced, but humans were extraordinary in ways no one admitted openly. Over the next few days, Zyra's fascination grew. She began testing Ethan subtly, asking small questions about physics and engineering while pretending to be casual. Ethan answered politely, but he gave nothing away. He was careful, discreet, and very human. Zyra started noticing other things too. Humans had resilience and intuition that no alien species seemed to possess. Ethan could solve problems quickly, improvise when necessary, and adapt in ways Zyra had not seen before. She began to realize that the hidden weapon was not just a device, it was a reflection of the human mind itself. One evening, while the colony's twin moons rose over the horizon, Zyra watched Ethan work in the locker again. She could see his hands moving with precision, his eyes scanning panels, his fingers adjusting tiny circuits. Every movement showed intelligence, creativity, and careful thought. Unable to contain herself, Zyra made a decision. She would not interfere, but she had to understand. Slowly, she approached the locker while Ethan was adjusting the energy output of a small device. Carefully, she leaned over the panel, catching another glimpse of the weapon. It was more magnificent than she remembered. The device seemed to respond to Ethan's touch, glowing slightly as if acknowledging his presence. Zyra felt a rush of admiration. This human had created something beyond her imagination, something no alien had achieved. For the first time, Zyra saw humans in a new light. They were not the fragile, inexperienced creatures some aliens believed them to be. They were inventive, adaptable, and capable of brilliance. Humans could take challenges that would stump an entire alien council and turn them into opportunities. That night, as Zyra floated by the window, she thought about the colony below. Humans might be rare here, but their potential was undeniable. She could not stop thinking about the device nor about the human who had created it. Ethan was clever, resourceful, and quietly extraordinary. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could humans change the way aliens saw technology? Could one human device influence an entire colony's future? She did not know, but she felt certain of one thing. She had witnessed the beginning of something remarkable. Zyra realized that she could not unsee Ethan's hidden weapon. It had opened her eyes to human potential, to creativity that defied expectation. Respect, fascination, and a hint of fear filled her mind. Humans were different, and she knew the universe would never be the same once they fully revealed their capabilities. As she prepared to leave for the night, Zyra paused and looked back at Ethan. He was unaware of her gaze, focused entirely on his work. She smiled softly. Humans were remarkable, and this one, she thought, was extraordinary. Days passed, and Zyra's fascination with Ethan grew stronger. Every time she entered his apartment, she found herself glancing at the storage locker, the hidden panel, and the faint glow that sometimes escaped from beneath it. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and capable of thinking in ways aliens rarely could. Ethan was proving that. Zyra began to notice subtle signs of his ingenuity. He repaired small problems in the apartment with tools she had never seen used before. He could fix broken energy conduits with simple devices and clever improvisation. Even minor electrical fluctuations were corrected instantly by his precise adjustments. Zyra felt a mix of admiration and unease. She had seen advanced aliens fail at such tasks, yet Ethan handled them effortlessly. Curiosity became almost irresistible. Zyra wanted to understand exactly what the human could do, but she also wanted to see how he would react to challenges. It was a test, not malicious but necessary for her growing understanding of human potential. One afternoon, while Ethan was away running errands in the colony, Zyra decided to try a small experiment. She tapped into the apartment's network and created a minor energy fluctuation in the storage locker, just enough to trigger a system alert. Then she waited. When Ethan returned, she watched carefully from the kitchen. He noticed the fluctuation immediately. Without hesitation, he moved to the locker, his hands steady, his mind clearly analyzing the problem. Within minutes, he had rerouted the energy, repaired the minor glitch, and restored the system to full efficiency. Zyra's eyes widened. No alien she had observed would have responded so quickly, so effectively. Most would have called for help, or tried to rely on automated systems. Ethan, however, had improvised a solution in real time, using nothing more than his intellect and a few simple tools. Later, she tried subtle questions while Ethan worked on the apartment's devices. "Do you always think like that?" she asked casually. Ethan smiled politely, not revealing his thoughts. He gave answers that were accurate, concise, and careful. Zyra realized humans had a natural ability to adapt, to solve problems creatively, and to act independently under pressure. As the week continued, Zyra observed other signs of his ingenuity. During a routine colony inspection, Ethan noticed a small structural flaw in the building, a tiny misalignment that could cause serious issues if left uncorrected. While most aliens might have ignored it, he quickly designed a simple support system, stabilizing the structure with minimal effort and using available materials. Zyra floated nearby, pretending to check another room. But she could not hide her astonishment. Humans, she realized, were not only capable of creating incredible technology, but they also had intuition, foresight, and an ability to see solutions that others missed entirely. One evening, the curiosity in Zyra's mind reached a new level. She had read ancient texts about humans and their unusual talents, but nothing had prepared her for observing one so closely. Ethan was not reckless. He was precise, patient, and confident in his problem-solving. She began to wonder how humans could accomplish so much with limited resources, and yet always find clever ways to succeed. Unable to resist any longer, Zyra decided on a small, controlled test. She subtly altered one of the apartment's minor systems, a panel in the floor that controlled energy distribution. She ensured it was safe, but unpredictable enough to require Ethan's attention. Ethan noticed immediately. His brow furrowed slightly as he examined the system, his mind running through possibilities. Within moments, he had adjusted the panel, rerouted the energy safely, and ensured that the rest of the apartment remained stable. He even left a small note for Zyra. "Systems restored. Check next time for efficiency." Zyra laughed softly, floating back to her normal routines. Humans were not only intelligent, they were confident, capable of adapting and even playful in their approach to problems. She realized that Ethan's hidden weapon was not just the device beneath the locker, but his mind itself. That night, Zira sat by the window, gazing at the twin moons of Zifferon 9. The colony lights below twinkled like stars. Humans, she reflected, were truly remarkable. They could create technology beyond alien imagination, solve problems in ways no one expected, and adapt with ingenuity that could rival even the most advanced species. Ethan's hidden weapon, she thought, was not just a device, it was proof of something greater. Humans were not weak or ordinary. They were clever, inventive, and capable of achieving incredible things. Zira could not unsee it, and she realized that the universe might underestimate them at its own risk. Her respect for him grew daily. She felt proud, almost protective, knowing that such a human was under her roof. She began to understand that his abilities were not just about machines. They were about thinking differently, acting wisely, and facing challenges with creativity. Zira smiled as she floated toward the kitchen, quietly preparing a late-night snack. Humans were extraordinary, she thought. And this one, Ethan Cole, had already shown her just how brilliant they could be. The morning on Zifferon 9 began like any other. Ethan Cole was reviewing his devices, checking energy flows, and making minor adjustments. Zira floated nearby, pretending to organize the apartment, but her attention never left him. Over the past weeks, she had learned to respect his intelligence, his patience, and his careful approach to every problem. Humans were capable of brilliance, she had discovered, and Ethan was proof of that. Her thoughts, however, were interrupted by a sudden alarm from the colony's security network. A mining transport ship, clearly not authorized to land, had entered the vicinity. Zira's violet eyes widened as she scanned the incoming signal. The ship was known for stealing rare technologies, and her heart sank. Could they know about Ethan's hidden weapon? Ethan noticed her tense expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Zira hesitated, then said, "An unauthorized ship is approaching. They may be dangerous." Ethan's brow furrowed. "We'll need a plan. Let's secure the apartment and the device." Working together, they quickly activated safety protocols. Ethan moved with precision, reinforcing the hidden panels and rerouting energy to defensive systems. Zira followed his instructions, amazed at how quickly and calmly he handled the situation. Unlike most aliens she had seen in emergencies, he did not panic. He analyzed, adapted, and acted. The intruder ship landed on the colony's outskirts. Figures in sleek armor disembarked, scanning for technology to steal. Zira could see their movements from the window. She felt a flicker of fear, but it was tempered by admiration for Ethan. He was ready. "Follow me," Ethan said. He led Zira to a small control console hidden behind a decorative wall panel. "I've set up some defenses," he explained. "Nothing harmful, they'll just slow them down while we protect the device." Zira floated beside him, her mind racing. She had witnessed humans' creativity before, but this was something different. He had turned ordinary apartment systems into a clever defense network. Motion sensors, energy barriers, and decoy signals worked together seamlessly, all controlled by his subtle adjustments. The intruders entered the building. Immediately they triggered minor traps, doors that locked automatically, hallways illuminated with blinding lights, and sensors that gave false readings. The human ingenuity behind these systems was obvious. Zira's respect grew with every step. Humans could think ahead, anticipate risks, and respond in ways no alien could match. One intruder tried to access the storage locker directly. Ethan reacted instantly, rerouting a small energy flow that immobilized the panel just long enough to keep it secure. Zira gasped quietly. No alien system she had encountered was as adaptive or clever as this. Humans, she realized, were not only capable of building advanced technology, they could use it strategically, like a game of logic and skill. The confrontation continued, but Ethan remained calm, improvising solutions in real time. He led Zira through hidden corridors, diverted intruders with clever traps, and protected his hidden weapon without ever showing panic. Zira floated behind him, observing in awe. His mind worked faster than any computer, faster than any alien engineer she had seen. Finally, the intruders realized they were outmatched. They retreated, frustrated and baffled by the ingenious human defense. Zira allowed herself a small smile. She had expected them to be dangerous, but she had not expected Ethan to handle them with such intelligence and skill. Once the threat was gone, Ethan returned to the apartment. Zyra could not hide her admiration. "You handled that perfectly," she said. "No alien could have done it as efficiently." Ethan smiled humbly. "I just thought ahead, anticipated their moves, and used what I had. It's all about understanding the situation." Zyra nodded slowly, feeling a deep respect for humans. They were not just capable of invention, they were capable of thinking, adapting, and succeeding where others failed. Her perspective had changed completely. That evening, Zyra and Ethan sat by the window looking out at the twin moons. The colony was calm again, but Zyra's mind was alive with thoughts. Humans were extraordinary, she realized. Their intelligence, creativity, and adaptability could surpass expectations, challenge assumptions, and even protect what was important with elegance and skill. She turned to Ethan, her expression serious but warm. "I see now. Your hidden weapon is not just a device. It is a reflection of you. Humans are clever in ways we never fully understood." Ethan nodded. "It's true. We have ways of solving problems that may seem unusual to others, but they work." Zyra smiled softly. She had witnessed the power of human ingenuity firsthand. She could not unsee it, and she knew that humans, with their creativity and courage, could change the universe in ways aliens had never imagined. That night, as Zyra floated in her apartment, she thought about the days to come. Humans like Ethan were rare, but they were remarkable. The universe underestimated them at its own risk. And Zyra, for one, would never underestimate a human again. The colony was quiet the morning after the intruders had retreated. Zyra floated through her apartment, observing Ethan as he carefully examined his hidden weapon. The small device hummed softly under his touch, responding to his adjustments with gentle pulses of energy. To anyone else, it might have seemed like a machine, but to Zyra, it had become a symbol, proof of human ingenuity and creativity. "Everything seems stable," Ethan said, finally leaning back and wiping sweat from his brow. "No damage." "Nothing is compromised," Zyra nodded, floating closer. "I have to admit, I misjudged humans. You are clever, resourceful, and far more capable than I imagined." Ethan gave a small, humble smile. "We find ways to solve problems. That's all. It's nothing special." But Zyra knew better. It was not just the device that made Ethan remarkable. It was the way he had thought, planned, and acted. The hidden weapon was impressive, but his mind was even more powerful. Humans could see solutions where others saw obstacles, and adapt to challenges in ways aliens rarely considered. Over the next few days, Zyra began to share her observations with the rest of the colony, carefully and respectfully. She spoke of Ethan's resourcefulness, his calm under pressure, and the clever ways he had protected the apartment and his device from the intruders. Slowly, other aliens began to take notice. They watched humans differently now, with curiosity and respect rather than doubt or dismissal. Ethan, meanwhile, continued his work quietly. He improved his hidden weapon, making it more efficient and stable, but he also began to teach Zyra about human engineering principles. They worked together, combining human innovation with Zyra's alien knowledge. The results were remarkable. Systems that were more energy efficient, safer, and smarter than anything the colony had seen before. One afternoon, while testing a new energy flow system, Zyra smiled and said, "I see now. Your hidden weapon is not just a device, it is a lesson. Humans teach us to think differently, to find clever solutions, and to never underestimate creativity." Ethan chuckled softly. "I suppose that's one way to look at it. But really, it's just solving problems as they come." Zyra shook her head. "No, it is more than that. Humans do not just solve problems, they improve the world around them with every solution." By the end of the week, the colony's perspective had shifted. Humans were no longer seen as rare, fragile outsiders. Instead, they were recognized as a species capable of ingenuity, resilience, and innovation. Ethan had not only protected his hidden weapon, but he had also earned the respect of an entire community. That evening, Zyra and Ethan stood by the window, watching the twin moons rise over Zifferon 9. The colony lights glimmered like a sea of stars. Zyra floated close to him, her violet eyes reflecting pride and admiration. "You have changed how we see humans," she said softly. "Your cleverness, your creativity. It is something I will never forget. The universe should never underestimate your kind." Ethan smiled, a quiet warmth in his eyes. "I hope humans can live up to that potential. We have so much to learn and do." Zyra nodded. And I will help. Together we can achieve more than either species could alone. From that moment, their partnership became more than landlord and tenant. They became collaborators, friends, and pioneers. Ethan shared human ideas, teaching aliens new ways to approach problems. Zyra offered her knowledge of alien technology and the colony's infrastructure. Together, they made the colony stronger, smarter, and safer. The hidden weapon, once a secret, became a symbol of human potential. It was a reminder that humans could create, adapt, and innovate in ways that even the most advanced aliens could not predict. Zyra often reflected on the first time she had glimpsed it. She had been curious, almost skeptical, but now she saw clearly. Humans were extraordinary. One quiet night, Zyra floated to the apartment window, looking at Ethan working at his console. The soft glow of the hidden weapon illuminated his focused face. She smiled to herself, thinking, I cannot unsee it. I would not want to. Humans are remarkable, and I am honored to witness it. Ethan finished his work and glanced at Zyra. It's ready, he said simply. Zyra nodded. Yes, and so are humans. As the twin moons cast their light over Zifferon 9, the human and the alien stood side by side, ready to face whatever the universe might bring. Together, they embodied a truth that no one could ignore. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, creators, and problem solvers. The universe would see them, respect them, and perhaps one day rely on them. And for Zyra, the alien landlady who had once only glanced curiously at a secret panel, the lesson was clear. Humans are extraordinary, and their brilliance cannot be unseen.